One of the things we can be so tempted to do as parents is to smooth the path ahead for our kids. We want to remove every obstacle and every hardship that we see coming down the road for them because so much of the time we can. Hi, I'm Sarah Short, your host of the No Way But Through podcast. This is your weekly one-stop shop for all things mom. How to parent through those exhausting days with your little ones, how to be intentional and connected with your big kids, and how to embrace what truly matters and let go of the rest. From life with a newborn to toddlers to teenagers and everything in between, I'll teach you foundational and practical strategies on how to walk through every season of motherhood with courage and creativity, all while prioritizing your relationships with your kids in a home life where all of you can thrive. My Nana once told me, there's no way but through. Turns out she was right in life and in motherhood. So come along with me as we become better moms together. This is the No Way But Through podcast. Hey y'all, welcome back into the No Way But Through podcast. I'm so glad to be back with you guys again today. I have been on vacation with my family on and off for the last couple of weeks. I mentioned this over on Instagram, but I took a really special mother-daughter trip with my only daughter, Holly, and then we had spring break as a family and went away for the week with my three youngest kids, one that's still in high school and two that are in middle school, and left our college kids behind, which was a little bit sad for me, but we had a great time in the sun and just really enjoyed one another for a couple of weeks. I set this work aside for those weeks, and I'm really so happy to be back again with you guys today. Just a quick reminder that if you haven't joined us over on Instagram, that we would love to have you over there. Besides getting automatic downloads if you've subscribed to this podcast, Instagram is a great way for you to get notified about new episodes and for you to see and hear me talking about the different episodes and for you to be able to interact with other moms or dads who are listening. And of course, you can always reach me over there in messages. So if you have a question or feedback or anything you'd like to ask me, that is a great way to get in touch with me. We are continuing our series today, Short Takes, where you guys ask me questions and I answer them. All of the episodes of Short Takes are questions that I have been asked either directly by the young moms in my real life or questions that I've gotten over on Instagram in my messages or questions that Jason and I got when we spoke at a parenting conference a couple of months ago. I wanted to do this series because I wanted to give you bite-sized episodes that specifically answer a direct question you've asked of me. Your questions, straight to the point answers. I'm really excited about today's episode because I absolutely love this question. How do you raise tough, resilient kids? How do you raise tough, resilient kids? This was something a young mom in my very real life asked me because she knows my kids. She's been around my family now for several years and been able to watch my adult kids grow up through their teenage years and become adults. And she's still continuing to watch my family and interacting with us and watching us interact with one another. And she knows my kids individually and as a collective. She has watched my kids suffer. My two children that have had multiple surgeries. She's watched my other kids interact with my younger children, and she knows both of my adult sons. She knows that it is important to both me and Jason, because both of us spend time with her and her husband, that it is important to us that we raise these type of children. We want our kids to be tough and resilient. So when she asked me this, I knew what she was getting at. She was wondering, is there a secret? Is there anything you've done that's made your kids like this? Because she knows me so well, ultimately, I know what she was asking. She wanted to know, is there intention behind it? Do you do this on purpose? And is there anything I can learn from you as a mom who's ahead of me? Is there anything I can learn from you in helping me to raise my own kids to be tough and resilient? The first thing I'd like to say before I get into what I hope will be some really good things for you to think about in terms of your own kids and your own family is this. What kind of adults do you want to send out into the world? Remember, you are not raising children. You are raising adults, adults that you are going to send out into the world one day. What do you want them to look like? That is a question I would encourage you to be asking regularly. What am I doing in any particular area that's helping me to raise the kind of adults that I want to send out into the world? So the first thing I want to say about this is that unwelcome suffering, hardship, hard things, the things that come into our kids' lives that are really difficult, will often teach them toughness and resilience without our help. And what I really mean by that is that if you have a child with a hard diagnosis, or you have a kid that has to overcome a whole lot in life already as a young child, there is a level of toughness and resilience that only hardship can teach us. And so their experience of walking through difficult things at a young age, there's a level of grit and determination and toughness that you see in kids who have to struggle from an early age that really only hardship can teach. And so while I know those things might be heartbreaking for you as a parent, I just want to start off by encouraging those of you that have children that have difficult diagnoses or difficult circumstances in their lives, that there is a level of toughness and resilience that will be built into them as they learn to overcome and persevere. But there are 3 things that we can do as parents to help build toughness and resilience in our kids. There are actually a lot more than that, but there are 3 things that I want to share with you today that you can do with intention from the time your kids are babies and toddlers. So if you have really little kids at home, I would encourage you to stay tuned into this episode, because if you begin to practice these things now, it will become much easier for you to continue to do these things as they get into their middle school and high school years. And if you are a parent of older kids, I want to encourage you that I have never had to do these things more than when I had teenagers and adult kids. Though I started to do these things, both Jason and I did, when our kids were really little, it was during the middle and high school years that we got a lot of practice in these things. And so no matter what age your kids are, if you do these 3 things, they will all, each one of them, be a gift to your children because of what God can do in them as you do these things for them throughout their childhood years. Okay, let's get into it. Number 1, don't smooth the path for them. One of the things we can be so tempted to do as parents is to smooth the path ahead for our kids. We want to remove every obstacle and every hardship that we see coming down the road for them, because so much of the time we can. We have wisdom and influence and money and ability to look ahead and to smooth the path and to make everything easy for our kids. And in that, we can deny them the opportunity to develop that toughness and that resilience because they haven't needed it, because we've made things so easy for them. I could give you a dozen different examples of this, but one of the primary ways that we as parents can do this for our kids is around the idea of access and money. We just get them what they want. We don't teach them to save, to have delayed gratification, to understand the value of hard work, even from a really young age. I can tell y'all that I have been super tempted by this over the years because I grew up below the poverty line. And Jason and I have more than we ever could have imagined, financially and materially. And so I want to give my kids really good things. I love to take them out and buy things for them. But y'all, kids who work and save their money for things, save their birthday money, save the money grandma and grandpa gave them for Christmas, save up to buy the thing that they want, are learning such a valuable lesson about what life is really like. You work and you make money, and then you can buy something that you like. Or someone gives you money for a gift and you don't have enough money, so you save more money to buy the thing that you want, right? You can begin to teach your kids these things early on in life as they're getting birthday or Christmas money, and to save up for something that they really want. That process of delayed gratification and working hard to save money and resisting the temptation to spend all your money right away, with all of that, you are helping them develop a toughness and a resilience and a strength that they will need later on in life. I'm going to give you a quick example of how I saw this play out in my teenage years, because all these years later, watching my girlfriend's parents do this well has impacted me in untold ways now 30 years later as a parent. When I was a teenager, my girlfriend Lauren, who was one of my best high school friends, and I spent a ton of time at her house, I loved her parents. She needed to buy her class ring. Lauren's parents were really good at this particular thing as it related to money and delayed gratification and training in this area. And when it came time for her to buy her class ring, she didn't have enough money saved up to buy it. She had been saving money here and there. She had the freedom, though, to spend her babysitting money and her allowance on other things that she wanted to spend them on. And when it came time, really close to the time to buy her class ring, she didn't have enough money. I was at her house when she came to this realization, and I will never forget her standing in the kitchen and talking with her parents while I was in the next room about her class ring. She had to pay for it by that coming Friday, and she didn't have enough money, and she asked if they would just pay for it for her, and then she would pay them back. To which they told her no. She had known that she needed to save the money. She knew the deadline to buy her class ring, and her parents, who were actually quite wealthy, said no. I remember that weekend and the following week. She didn't get to hang out with us and our friends, and do you know why? Because she was babysitting every night, because she had to make the money so that she had it to buy her class ring that Friday. Whether it's bailing our kids out from responsibilities, or getting them everything they want, or filling out all their paperwork for them, or heaven forbid, y'all, registering for their college classes for them, we as parents serve and love our kids so well if we resist the temptation to smooth the path before them as they chart their way through life. Whether it's picking up all their toys for them as a toddler when they've ripped them all out of the shelves and cabinets, and not allowing them, even though they're tired and ready for a nap and exhausted, to sit there and not pick up their toys. Y'all, if you have them do this, it teaches your kids toughness and resilience and responsibility and probably 100 other things, because navigating life and its responsibilities is one of the things we want our kids to be able to do well once they leave our home. And if we have smoothed the path for them every step of the way, we are handicapping them instead of loving them. So don't smooth the path ahead for your kids. Number 2, don't intervene in every hard relational situation they're in. This is the most important thing I want to tell you in this podcast today, and if you don't remember anything else, I hope that you will remember this. We as parents will face an untold number of opportunities with each of our kids to interfere and insert ourselves into their relational scenarios. They are going to get gossiped about. They are going to get excluded. They are going to be mad at someone, and someone is going to be mad at them. They are going to get broken up with. They are going to break up with someone. They are going to have teachers who simply don't like them. They are going to have teachers who don't understand them. They are going to have classes that they aren't doing well in. They are going to have church leaders they don't like, and they are going to have conflict. And it can be such a temptation for us to want to go in and fix those situations by talking to the other people involved. Because if the other people involved in the situation would just do better and act more the way we would want them to, then our child would not be hurting or upset or frustrated or angry at all the things that our child is having to deal with as a result of whatever relational conflict they're facing. God has not called you to parent or fix or change or confront every person around your child that isn't doing the things the way you or your child think they should do them. God is calling you to parent your child. If your child is getting gossiped about, the answer is not for you to go to the other parent and talk to the other parent about their daughter who's gossiping about your daughter. Your job is to parent your child in helping her to work through knowing what to do when someone is gossiping about her. This is your golden opportunity to teach your daughter how to handle things when someone is gossiping about her. If you go to her friend's mom to try to fix your friend's daughter, then you are depriving your daughter of your wisdom, your coaching, your guidance, and you are depriving her of how to, in a healthy way, handle a situation when she's being gossiped about. That's what God's asking you to do in that moment, not to parent the girl who's gossiping about your daughter. Y'all, I cannot tell you how important this is and how if you begin to practice this with a toddler and one of your friend's babies who's bonked your toddler on the head, and you parent your toddler through that, the more you practice this, the more you can set your eyes on parenting your kids through hard things ahead, not intervening in this situation to try to change other people, but helping your kids to build toughness and resilience and give them an ability to navigate hard relationships in a way that they will never learn if you do this for them. They are going to have bosses they don't like. They're going to have professors they don't like. They're going to have a mother or a father-in-law they might not like. They're going to be in these relationships, and they need these tools and these skills that can only be built through practice on how to lovingly handle those situations. And y'all, if you have stormed into every situation with teachers and principals and other parents and other kids and church leaders and whoever else it is by going in and waving around a stick and saying, you can't treat my kid this way, you need to fix you, you are doing such a disservice to your child. Before I move on from this, I'm going to say this very quickly here. I'm not referencing situations where your child is being bullied or being physically harmed. If your child is being physically harmed by somebody else or they're getting significantly bullied, you need to get involved. I just want to say that right out the gate. You have to use discernment about that, but I am not referring to those situations as I give you this guidance and wisdom. I am talking about everyday relational situations where your child gets hurt or left out or is struggling through a class at school or a difficult teacher. These everyday scenarios that we all face where we have conflict and struggle. And y'all, while your kids are under your roof, this is your golden opportunity to teach them how to navigate conflict in relationships well. You are not going to be at college with them when they need to navigate these relationships on their own. And if you do not teach them how to do relationships well on their own, to advocate for themselves, to extend grace, to extend forgiveness, to ask for it, and to do all of the awesome and hard things that we get to do in relationships, then you are depriving your kids of something that's so good. So begin by practicing it now with your little ones at home. Resist the temptation to parent the other kids at the playground, to parent the other kids in your friend group. You parent the kid God has given you to parent and help them deal with the conflicts that come into their life. And y'all, you will begin to raise tough and resilient kids. Number 3, laugh through the hard stuff. Y'all, laughter is medicine. When things get crazy town over here at the Shorts and they go sideways and get crazy town over here on the regular, one of the best ways that Jason and I have been able to raise kids who are emotionally intelligent and tough and resilient and kind, and how all of that works together, is that we laugh about the stuff that's so ridiculous. We laugh through the hard things. We laugh through hard conversations. I love it when I'm losing my mind about something and I look over and Jason is holding back laughter with everything in him and making a side eye at one of my adult sons who's holding back laughter because I'm acting so crazy and they know it and they just bust up laughing, and it sends all of us into fits of laughter because y'all, life is ridiculous. Raising kids and life inside of family is so absolutely crazy at times that it's nothing if not just completely hilarious. You know, some of my very best girlfriends, the girlfriends that I love the most, even if they aren't the ones that I see the most often, are my girlfriends who can laugh with me. And oftentimes that comes right on the heels of us crying our eyes out because one of us is going through something really, really hard. I have a small group of girls that I get together with right now, and we pray together. We love each other. We support each other. We share our really heavy burdens with each other, and we help carry them for one another. We also have lunch, which I love, but we all had a conversation recently because three of us are dealing with some really hard stuff with extended family right now. And y'all, it is so bananas that it's almost hard to believe. And so I actually shot them off a text recently with just some of the stuff that's going on with me and my family. And I said to them, I am sending you this text with all of this because I don't actually think that you will believe me if I just tell it to you. So I laid it all out and they read it. And y'all, they were absolutely horrified. And then we all erupted into laughter, essentially on this group text, because it is so hard and so sad and so crazy that if we don't laugh about it, we're just going to sob in our beds and give up. One of the things that Jason and I do in our family is to use humor to help us lighten the load. Sometimes something is so hard and so sad that when one of my kids finds something funny in it or says something wackadoodle while we're talking about it, we all erupt into laughter, and it's exactly what we need. And as it relates to toughness and resilience, y'all, our laughter is a reminder that it isn't always going to be this way. Even in this dark, dark moment, whatever the situation is that's really, really difficult, our laughter helps heal us just a little bit and just lessens the weight of the heaviness, even if just for a moment. One of my favorite movies of all time is Steel Magnolias. And if you haven't seen that movie, you need to finish listening to this podcast. And whatever day you are listening to this podcast, that very night, you need to go watch Steel Magnolias because it is such an amazing movie. Y'all, I love this movie so much that a couple of years ago, I threw myself a Steel Magnolias birthday party and invited all of my girlfriends because, y'all, it is just my favorite. But this movie has Sally Field and Dolly Parton, Daryl Hannah, Julia Roberts. It's just a fantastic movie with a great cast. But one of the scenes in the movie, and I don't want to give it away, but in one of the scenes in Steel Magnolias, Malin is absolutely devastated over something that has happened in her life. And she is crying out to her friends, y'all. She is just weeping, saying, "Why? I don't understand this. Why?" And one of her friends makes a joke, and they all just erupt into laughter with tears streaming down their faces and absolutely sobbing over the horribleness of the situation. Because the whole thing is just so upsetting and so horrible. But one of them makes this joke, and they all begin to erupt in laughter. And Truvy, the character played by Dolly Parton, says, "Laughter through tears is my favorite emotion." Resilient adults who are able to handle all manner of things that life throws at us are able to laugh. We can laugh through our tears, through our sobbing. And y'all, if we know Jesus, there is a level of comfort that comes from knowing that this life is not the end of the story. This is not the end, that even if something never gets better here on earth, it will be made right in heaven. One day it will be made right. And so, in my family over here at the Shorts, we cry when things are hard. We do. The number of tears I have wept over the suffering of my children, y'all, only God knows. But I am so thankful that we have a culture around our house where laughter is welcome, where we can laugh at the ridiculousness of some of the hard stuff that has come our way. And sometimes it's been that laughter that's been so bonding for us as a family, and I am so grateful for it. So 1, don't smooth the path for your kids. They need the hard stuff because of what the hard stuff will develop in them. Number 2, don't interfere in all of their hard relational situations. Let them work things out. Guide them and teach them, but they need to know how to work through hard relationships without you as their parent intervening and trying to fix things for them. And number 3, laugh through the hard stuff. Y'all, try not to take it all so seriously or to allow the things that break your hearts to break your spirits. Make your home and family life a place where laughter is welcome, when at the end of the day, there's always a spark of joy to find around us, even in the hardest of situations. You want tough, resilient kids? These things will all help you send these kinds of kids out into the world who know how to do relationships well because they've learned it from you. They know that hard stuff's going to come, but they have the tools they need to deal with it, and they know how to laugh. These are the people I love to hang out with, and these are the kinds of kids you want to raise into tough, resilient adults that the world needs and wants to hang out with too. That's it for this episode on the No Way But Through podcast. See y'all next time. You've just listened to another episode of the No Way But Through podcast. If you want to connect with other like-minded moms and join our growing online community, head on over to Instagram and follow along with us at No Way But Through. You can always reach me over there throughout the week. And if you'd like to financially support this podcast, there's a link at the bottom of every episode where you can do just that.